I'm continuing. This is video 2 for the comprehensive problem example. In this particular video, we are going to look at how to post journal entries to the ledger. And what we're going to look at here are just a couple of the first entries to show you how to balance everything out and how it all should look when you get ready to work on your project. So the first thing we look at is the first entry, which is June 1st, and we see that we have cash and it's a debit of $95,000. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we will put June 1st here. You do have to put the posting reference, and the posting reference here would be for the general journal, page 1. So here I don't really have enough room to put it all in, so I'm just going to put J1. It is a debit for $9,000. Sorry, my pen's not wanting to work. $9,500. And so what you're going to do here is you are going to put it over in this debit column here. Let's see, maybe if I make it a little bit bigger, for the $9,000. $5,000, $9,500. There. So I do get a little bit of that in. And the other side of this is looking at the R. Curry capital account, and it is a credit for $95. So I would come in to find the capital account. I would put the date in. Posting reference would be J1. Credit would be for the $9,500. And then I'd look at the balance. And when I look at this balance, it would be at the $9,500 mark there. The next entry that we look at is looking at the sailboats, the fan systems, and all of that. So when I look at this particular entry, you'll see the sailboats is there for $25,800. So, you know what? I forgot something over here. On this first page, you see this is account number 111, so I have to put account number 111 here. That was account 311, so 311 should go right in there, and you should do that as you do all of the entries. So for this one, we are looking at sailboats. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so that I can write on it. So with the sailboats, it's at $25,800. So I will come in, I will put the date, which is June the 2nd here. It is J1. We are looking at a debit of $25,800. And so that means I'm going to have a debit balance of $25,800. And that is account 129. So up here I would be putting in, so I can move it down some, I would be putting in 129 as my account number there. The next one is the fan system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the fan system, and it's $13,300. So if I, sorry, need to do that. So what I'm looking at here, if I'm looking at this fan system and I'm moving this around, I can come down to the bottom. All right. So here's the fan system. Again, I would put in the date of June the 2nd, and it would be page J1. And the fan system actually was, I believe, for what, $13,300. So that would be a debit of $13,300. I would have $13,300 here, and that would be account 127. So when I look at this, I would come back up here and I would actually put account 127. Would go right there. The next one is the pool structure, and so that's going to be for $140,000. That would be the June 1st, J1 reference, 140,000 would come in here, and I would have a balance of 140,000. And that is account number 125. So back up here, 125 would go up there. Then I would have the land for 37,000. So I come in and I find the land, and it would be on page 6. The date is 6/2. Page J1. It is for 37,000. So I would put 37,000 in on the debit, and the balance would be 37,000 debit also right here. That's account 121. So I'd come up and put 121 in that space. Then I'm going to move over. So at this point, what I am looking at is I have 129. In that top spot, we already had said it was 137 maybe. I'm going to have to move it down a little bit so I can write 129, 127, 125, and 121 is what we had on that other page. So now we have what we have on the other page. We can actually go in and try to get all of this information back in there. Okay, so now we're at the cash. Well, on the last page we had the cash balance in there at 95,000. This one we're going to come in and it's and it's going to be 6/2. I don't have to put the 6 there because I already have a 6. It is on page J1, and it is a credit for 60,000. So it's going to go on this credit side. Now, when we have it look like this, what we have to do, if we have a debit and a credit, is we have to take that debit balance. We would then subtract that credit balance from it. And so now we have a debit balance of $35,000. And so underneath the debit side, we would have that current balance, which would be that $35,000. And then it's account 111. So we would come up here and put in 111. Our mortgage payable would be 156,100. So we would come down here and we do 6/2. It is on page 1 of the journal, and that is going to be for $156,100. And my credit would be 156,100 also. And so that's what we would have for that. The next thing we get to is the advertising expense. So we would go in and we'd find advertising expense in our general ledger. This was done on the 3rd, so we'd have 6/3. It is on page 1 of the journal, and it is $350. And the debit would be for $350. It's number 513. So you notice right here we would go in and we would put 513. For the cash account would be the next one. So this would be a 3 here. It is on page 1 of the journal. It'd be for $350 as a credit. So I'd put that. We would then take the $3,500. We would subtract out the $350 from that because we have a debit versus a credit. And we would end up with $34,650. So I'd write the balance of $34,650. Would go in right there. And so that's how you would do that. The next thing that we have is this prepaid insurance. And so with prepaid insurance, this would be a 6/3. So we would come into prepaid insurance, put 6/3. It is on page 1 of the journal. It is a debit for $12,000. Here, let me It is a debit for $12,000, so I'd have 12,000 would be my debit amount there also. The other side of the entry would be that cash account. This is on the 3rd also. So you would have the 3rd, and we're actually paying out $12,000. So when I do the 12,000, it goes in right here. And then that balance would then be, I would take the 34,650 balance that we had. I would subtract out the 12,000 from that, and I would get $22,650 is what I would actually have, and so that is what actually would go in right here as a balance. Again, I need to put the 114 up top, so make sure that when you are doing these, you know, you are putting your account numbers in when you post. When you're doing your posting references here, all of these should have the number on them. The first page of the journal would be J1. If you go to the second page of the journal, then you would see J2. Third page of a journal, you would put J3 in the posting reference. But you always want to put the account numbers in right there when you're looking at those entries. So this is how you post to the entries. I actually have all of the transactions all the way through the 3rd, and there's a couple more transactions like to the sailboat, the concession income account, as well as another advertising expense. So you can go through and you can look at those journal entries. I have them out there in Blackboard for you to be able to go into and look at what the actual answers for all of these different things would be.